What is up? Kevin Hale here on this Monday night, May 11th, 2026, doing another round of shots. Davo, TB, Drew, Dylan, and Randow in the house. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hope all you mothers out there, BBN and non-BBN, had a great Mother's Day yesterday. Got to give the love to the ladies in our lives. Guys, Dave, I'll start with you. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Happy to be on. Enjoyed time with my mama yesterday, so thank you for that.
TB, what's up, my man?
I'm doing well. Got to FaceTime with Mama B last night, so she's holding it down there in my old Kentucky home. So glad to be here.
Our old Kentucky home. Drew, what's up, man?
Not much. Doing good. Another Monday. Enjoyed a Mother's Day with my mom. So, yeah.
Dylan in the house. What's up, Dylan?
Doing great. Thank you all for having me on. Yeah, got to spend yesterday with my mom and my wife and my grandmother. Just the good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Good stuff. Absolutely. Is my mic on? Yeah, Randow. What's up, man?
What's up?
What's up?
Same as everybody. I'm currently in Missouri, so I'm not enjoying San Diego on Central Time, and I also got to enjoy some time with the woman who blessed me with two beautiful kids and celebrate her Mother's Day, and talk to my mom. So it was all good.
Good stuff. Are you in a state that you like or dislike right now, Randow?
Well, it's not so much the state; it's Fort Leonard Wood, where I'm at right now. This place sucks. So I'm not. The rest of the state, I can't say much about. Flew to Springfield. Bluegrass might be bigger than Springfield Airport, which might shock you. But it's just driving here to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I'm here for 3 days, and I'll be ready to get out as soon as possible.
All right. Good to see you guys. People hanging with us tonight as the audience will start picking up. Appreciate you. Give us a like, a follow on the social media. Would appreciate it. Follow these guys too on their X, their podcasts. Some good people hanging with us tonight. Let's do this. What we got? Let's start with the ladies. Ladies roster, man, is really picking up some steam, guys. What did Shaquille O'Neal's daughter? They just added her from a portal transfer from Florida, right? Florida. Mm-hmm. And Drew, talk to us. What you got? What do you know about the ladies? What's the latest and greatest?
Yeah, I don't really know the latest, but what I do know is they're going to have a really, really good team. Some big portal recruitments. Obviously got a former WNBA draft pick on their roster, so that's pretty cool and interesting. Haven't seen that in the boys game yet, so that's something kind of, that was kind of a curveball. But other than that, I mean, you got the three big time freshmen coming in, so Kenny Brooks is building the squad, and hopefully they're able to compete for in the SEC and in the national realm, because year 3 for him too. So it's a good time to watch the ladies, and they should be pretty good this year.
TB, I know you're following the ladies strong. They got the international boom of that number 10 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. So she'll be making her presence in Lexington. She's a 6'4" guard. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah.
What's the eligibility with that too? Like, how many years does she get?
Because she gets her full complement, because the women's game is a little bit different as far as international players. That's how she was able to get drafted, because they declare. They just draft them. So she didn't do anything. You're on the men's side. You actually declare if you're international or something like that, right? But anyway, moving Claire Strack to the 4 is going to be fantastic, because she's going to be able to be away from the basket a little bit more and create more mismatches with her skill set. I've watched a lot of women's basketball. Kentucky is on that cusp, right? The WNBA season just started. Georgia Amore is out there starting for the Washington Mystics. Tiani Key made the Toronto Tempo roster. And, of course, you've got Ryan Howard that's out there balling. So Kentucky women's basketball is on the upkeep. So next year I expect them to be a top 10 program and make that leap, because if you follow women's basketball, it's really top heavy. There's like 7 or 8 teams and then everybody else. And Kentucky's right at that cusp of going from from a top 25 to a top 10 program where, hey, they got it rolling, right? From the transfer portal, McDonald's All-Americans, international. The women are coming to Lexington to hoop.
Yep. Dylan, I'll turn to you. 3 McDonald's All-Americans, 3 5-star recruits, or is it 3 5-star recruits? Okay. What you got for the ladies, Dylan?
Yeah, I think that there's nothing but good vibes around that. That's always been my question with the women's program. I think Kenny Brooks is phenomenal, and he is just also from a personal level getting to know all these coaches at UK. Kenny may be my favorite just to hang around and be around for a minute. Like, Kenny is awesome, dude. He's a great guy, and also he's just cool. And like, they're killing it on social media, they're killing it with PR. But then when you get to the roster, they're going to be really big and really good, and it is going to be. And I'm glad DB said that. Like, that's always been my question though. With anything, can you get over the hump? Because it seems like that is extremely top heavy. And if they're going to do it, this year is the year they're going to do it. And TB, do you know how to say her name, Shaq's daughter? It's Meara, because I know you keep up with the women a little better. I wanted to call her by her name other than Shaq's daughter. But
I wanted to do that too. Go ahead.
Maera.
That's what I thought, but I don't want to. I'm gonna let you take that one, Hale. But yeah, look, it's exciting. It's exciting for them to get over the hump.
And
having
Shaq's
daughter,
you might keep up with it a little better than me, but I think there's also a kind of it factor with it being Shaq's daughter, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not just McDonald's All-Americans. It's not just the returning All-American. It's not just transfer portal players. It's, hey, there's going to be some celebrities around. There's a former top NBA draft pick. If they're going to do it, it seems like they're gearing up. And they did that once before when the portal first opened at Virginia Tech, and they made a Final Four. And it looks like they're going – and I think if you're Kentucky, that's the play, right? You want to always be good. But I think when you see a window, if you're not South Carolina, if you're not Texas, if you're not UConn, go attack the window. And I think that's the cool thing, that they're going to – it looks like they're going to do it, and it looks like they're going to be set for the future. So they just got to take advantage. And I actually was reading from someone on the national level that a couple of those other transfers they thought were really good additions. I'm not even going to act like I know, but we were talking about Shaq's daughter, and she averaged 14 points and almost 7 rebounds a game. It's not just, hey, that's a popular name. You're talking a top 10 NBA draft pick or WNBA draft pick who looks like she's going to have 4 years of eligibility because the 5-and-5 is going to go into play with them, and she's 20 years old. So it looks like she's going to have 4 years of eligibility. And then you've got – it's just – they have handled this phenomenally. And I'm super excited. I told some people over at UK the other day, I'm going to be covering a lot more women's basketball games this year. I'm going to make it over there as much as possible, and I hope the fans do as well because it's going to be a fun year.
We're going to be talking about the ladies a lot more too. Randow, I'll get you in here. Staying with Shaq's daughter, this is a player who dropped 23 on us last season. Looking at her skill sets, she's 6'3", 6'4", forward who can stretch the floor, shot nearly 40% from deep in some stretches. And I think TV alluded to the fact that it lets Clara Strack move to the 4. What do you say, Randow?
Well, Gemini tells me her name is Meara. Is how you pronounce it. So there you go. There you go. I'll be the cultured one on the show. But no, I mean, you talk about the name, the star power, but she's a baller as well. Shaq, giveth after he taketh away last year, because Nate Ament potentially leaning to Kentucky. He says, go to Tennessee and be a dude, right? So you're like, Shaq, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? And then he gives us, his daughter who's going to help Kenny Brooks get over the hump. But, I think everybody talked about the players. And Dylan, you might know this a little better, but it wasn't but a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, where it was like whispers of Kenny Brooks might leave. Like there's some ACC offers, like that he might be gone. And I don't know if that was true or if there was some behind the scenes, like, give him a little extra money or whatnot, but the ability to retain him and then see what he's doing with the roster. I think that's the big story, is that if he could have been doing this at, was it Virginia, that whatever the school was that was chasing him, he could have been doing that there.
But Kenny's my dude, but I'll speak a little bit on that, and not to interrupt you, Randow, because you mentioned me there. I personally think that was a little play to secure some, hey, I need some help to get some people to get me over the hump. And I like the play from him, but I think he was 100% offered that job. But I think all along he wanted to be in Kentucky. But I think he played that very well to get some support from some people that he needed support from. Extremely smart play on his part.
But hey, just jumping in on that, like that's smart on his end. Like, hey, I'm trying to build something here. Like, let me use potential opportunities. Let me use the success that I've had in 2 years to let's take the women's program from here of where he took it over. I mean, he's already elevated it from where, when he stepped in the door to now, like, all right, let's get it to the next level. So that's smart on his end.
Yep.
And that's what they did at UCLA, right? Because UCLA, where the men's program is elite, like I'm still going to put them in my top whatever, but the women's program was lagging behind, and Corey Close comes and finds a way to get it done out there, and they win a championship that way. They were able to get over that hump. They were blown out last year in the Final Four. They basically run it back, add a couple of transfer players. That's what you have to do. And I think Kentucky's knocking on the door, and Kenny Brooks is going to kick it open. You got Virginia to a Final Four.
Yeah. Speaking of that door real quick, let me get Davo in. Davo, now this is definitely more than ever where Coach Brooks can walk into any recruit's living room and show that Kentucky is a direct path to the league.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, we got what, 2 right now already, balling out. Georgia and Kiev actually played each other.
Yeah.
I believe a couple of days ago, right? So I mean,
Georgia balled out, man. It was great.
Yeah, already, and we can also say, hey, at any time we can have DJ Diesel pull up and have a rave, at historic Memorial, at historic Rock Coliseum. But no, this is going to be a time where you can tell that Brooks is not playing around. He's brought in 3 just All-Americans, like I said, McDonald's All-Americans. I'm trying to repeat what everybody else is saying. Surround that with Claire Strack, move Strack to the 4, like everybody else is saying, where she'll obviously thrive, right? And not have to worry so much about playing against some really, really big girls, right, that kind of gave her some trouble. Man, I'm excited. I mean,
Same.
You have to be. I feel like that this is going to be one of them years where he's going to make a run at it. I don't know what happened against Texas in the tournament this last season, but he's going to make a run at it. And it's just super exciting what he's got going on down there. So.
Because Texas was damn good. Let's be clear.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happened is Texas was –
well, they were one seed, right? They were one.
Yeah,
when they were
it was all one seeds. That's why I say it's top heavy. If you can get over that hump and you can host, like we've done, that puts you in the right position.
Let me been wanting there. That's why I'm doing this.
And while you're doing that, my bad. While you're doing that, he addressed some needs too. He got another shooter to put alongside of Boone. He brought in the transfer from UConn, who wasn't super productive, but I mean, she's a 5-star player from UConn, so she's got to be good. It's exciting. So
it is exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, the roster's built how you want it to be. He's going to have 3. You talk about 3 McDonald's All-Americans who're going to stay in the program for a while, and then he's supplementing with portal players who can make an impact right away. And I don't think any of us expect him to go anywhere, so he's going to be here for 4, 5, 6, whatever, however many years. So him just building the contender is huge, and it's smart for Kentucky to put some money into women's basketball. Like, it's not going to be the same draw money wise as basketball or football, but it is on the rise, right? You saw what a Caitlin Clark can do for a program. You see what Dawn Staley's doing for South Carolina. I mean, carrying basketball for them. So it's one of those things where put money into it, Memorial is awesome to play in. Like that place can get rocking. And if you have an incredible season where you're taking advantage of Shaq coming and watching his daughter play, like it's strategically, it's smart for the athletic program as well.
Agreed. All right, guys, let's switch gears to the oblong ball. Drew, give me the latest and greatest with Kentucky football.
Yeah, so I believe it was on Friday. Ivy and Lewis, a 4-star receiver out of Richmond, Virginia, number 8 player in Virginia, number 46 receiver, top 400-ish player, wide receiver, committed to Kentucky. And then I believe yesterday morning, or was it this morning? I can't even remember. Ian Walker, a guard out of or from Pennington, New Jersey, committed to Kentucky as well. So those are the last or most recent 2 commitments since we spoke last Sunday. And now Kentucky's sitting with the number 9 recruiting class in football, I guess, per 247 Sports and their recruiting ranking. So, I mean, they just continue to keep stacking commitments of really good players. And, I mean, it's impressive. But, you know,
it was this morning. This morning.
So, I mean, they just keep stacking guys. They're getting guys all across the board, whether it's, you know, Jake Norrod with the number 2 quarterback and receivers and linemen and D linemen and linebackers and those things. So it's impressive. I mean, they just got to keep on going, keep stacking commitments and, you know, then go win some games on the football field. And we can be talking about Will Stein in a year or two, the same way that we just talked about Kenny Brooks with building this thing. So it's impressive what they're doing in recruiting.
Agreed. That big blue wall is starting to shape up. Dylan, what are you thinking, feeling with what you're seeing? Somebody? Hello? Did I say? Did he drop? Dylan, do you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Sorry, I had muted.
Oh.
I think what you're seeing is a coach that is taking extreme advantage in the best way possible of a new regime coming off of developing offenses and quarterbacks and excitement in one of the most exciting programs in the country. And he's playing all the right strings, right? Like we've talked about PR lately, and this guy's doing it all right. And of course, though, I will say this, that's what happens a lot is that at the beginning of a new regime in football, you see coaches win the PR battle, but what you don't see is people recruiting at this level when they're brand new. And I think his experience in Oregon, that is a very well-ran program that is ran by Dan Lanning, who is from the Nick Saban tree, who knows how to run a good program. And Will Stein was a huge part of that. And it's not Dan is not an offensive guy. That offense has been the best in the country 2 of the last 3 years, and they've developed quarterbacks better than anyone in the country. And that was Will Stein's that was his baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Dan is not an offensive coach that had his finger on the pulse. Dan's a defensive coach. And I think Will Stein's likable. I think he has the connection to here. And what they're selling is different. And I think he's investing in young players. A lot of people try to go through the portal, but guys, it gets expensive to build through the portal. I talked to somebody today that said, hey, this football team could be really, really good this year. But football injuries happen. If like 1 or 2 injuries happen, they're just going to be really bad. But he's like, they're taking that risk in year 1 because they didn't want to use all the money forever on year 1 and some portal guys that were like they invested heavily, but they're not 2 and 3 deep this year. The cupboard was kind of bare. Nothing against the old regime, but you saw they were going for 4 and 5 guys out of the portal every year at the offensive line. And you got to build through recruiting and supplement with the portal and hit those skill players in the portal. And I think Will Stein is building a really, really strong foundation. I think if they get to 5 wins next year, that will be monumental for the way the schedule is. But I think what they're doing is laying a strong foundation. You're seeing in the number 2 quarterback in the country and one of the top wide receivers, and then just some really solid offensive and defensive players. And it'll be interesting. Let's see what happens on the field. We know Will Stein can coach offense, but they went out and got some recruiters. I mean, Joe Slone has had his fair share of struggles, but that was, I think, more, but he also has had some success on the field as well. But there is one thing that nobody can argue with, and Joe Sloan's a recruiter. And so we'll see how the product looks on the field, but they're killing it in the recruiting.
TB, jump in. What are you feeling?
For me, I don't keep up with recruiting as far as guys, but it's the PR battle, right? Like it feels different. And what I always say is when you're building a program like we just talked about Kenny Brooks, what do you hang your hat on, right? When Stoops was at his best, what was it? The big blue wall, right? Like every coach, every program, what is it that you do that sets you apart from everybody else? So Will Stein's out here, hey, the offense is going to be elite. I can develop a quarterback from this point to the league. I'm excited. You just need that proof of concept. 5 wins. I'll be ecstatic with this year if we get to 5 wins. And then you can build on that. So I'm all in on Will Stein.
6 and go bowling. That would be even better, brother. Randow, what's his take here? Seeing the comments. This one here. Any intel on CJ Baxter's hamstring? What's up with that? You might know the story there.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know he's dealt.
I think CJ Baxter is someone who has a ton of talent, and we've seen that at the 1 year he had major production at Texas. But I was told early on, you see this a lot, and Indiana did this at a high level, taking guys who had been injured, but you knew the talent was there, and you get that at a discount. Indiana did that the first year, and no injuries hit, right? And then you can just build off success. And I think you see that at every big football program. You take a guy that has proven himself, or any program trying to build, you take him out of the portal early on in the coach's tenure. And I think CJ Baxter is the latest with that. He's not hurt right now. I think he's going to be fine. But that's a guy that's been injured a lot in his career, and I think they're just hoping on him and a couple of other dudes is like, hey, we had to take – this is as talented as we're going to get, especially at this price due to injury history. And it's a little different than basketball. You got 12 guys in basketball. You've got 100 dudes in football. You got to take a couple of those chances. And I think that he's fine right now, but he does have an injury history. There's no running from that.
Okay.
Well, I think just to piggyback off of that, I don't think we're going to see or hear much about CJ Baxter in the offseason. I think like kind of what we saw last year with, I don't think Dante Dowdell had like a ton of injury history, but Kentucky pretty much shut him down up until the start of the season last year and just said, hey, you're going to go into this year full go, fully healthy. And then I guess if shit out of luck happens and you get hurt, you get hurt. But they're going to try to protect him as much as they can. And Javonte Barnes as well has, I think, a little bit of injury history. So with both of those guys, you're probably going to hear a ton of like Jason Patterson or Tavani Mizell, some of those younger backs a lot in the offseason. But then when we get to the point of the season, it's going to be CJ Baxter and Javonte Barnes.
Gotcha. Davo, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, Will Stein is preaching what he spills out. You know, he was scared to go to church. The guy's jumping into this season, guns blazing. He's not afraid. I agree. I don't think this roster has a ton of depth in the really, really important positions. But you know what? If there's one thing that we know this team is going to be, it's going to be like its head coach, right? And that's fiery and competitive. And you can bookmark it too. I really don't care. We're going to beat Alabama week 2. I just think they're going to come into a buzzsaw. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be absolutely rocking. It's going to be sold out. They're going to pull all the strings. I believe they're coming in with a true freshman quarterback. Alabama sucks on the road under a DeBoer. So we're going to beat them. And
let's stay there real quick, Davo. I mean, you bring up something that we're still months away, but the dynamic with the football program right now, this excitement. I mean, we're watching all this play out, recruiting wise, roster updates. I mean, this is going to be one of the more anticipated opening, season home games for us.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it is. I mean, heck, the first game against Youngstown State's gonna be rocking. I'm going to be there.
First SEC. I should say first SEC. Yeah,
I can't imagine what the Alabama atmosphere is going to be like. Yeah. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, to bring a high-profile team in. Yeah, of course. But
especially if like the Youngstown State game, if like Kentucky puts up like 60 points, like 650 yards and 3 dudes going crazy, and Kenny Minchie looks awesome. it might not translate to week 2, although it might. Regardless of going into that game, Kentucky fans are going to be feeling on top of the world, and they're going to be like, all right, bring it on, Bama. Like, let's see what happens. And then, from there, I mean, win or lose, I mean, if Kentucky wins that game, like, stock goes through the roof of not even just the season, but just the potential, and to have a win like that already, and the national buzz that comes from that game. We talk about the PR, like, holy cow, that would be great. But even if Kentucky loses a close game and they're competitive and it comes down to the last few minutes, like, if we're talking about, a first-year head coach in the SEC and all these things, like, that's a win in my book, of just win or keep that game close, and from there, anything is good.
Yeah, and I do think this is going to be more of a defensive type of team this first year, because the defense returns quite a bit of production.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
why can't we be both? Why can't we?
Well, it takes time to build an offense.
I think offense, there's a lot more question marks. There's injury history on the offense. Kenny Minchie hasn't really taken any snaps in college, so, like, there's some question marks there. The offensive line's great, but, like, none of them have played together before, and we know, like, offensive line cohesion is super important. So I think the defense, there's a lot more that we can look at and say, like, okay, yeah, this group should be pretty good. But if the offense hits, then we're talking. But yeah.
Talk to me, Randow. What are you feeling, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about at least 6 wins. I think we get 7. That'll be where I go beginning of the season, finding 7 wins, because I'm always going to pick we're going to beat Louisville. Won't pick Tennessee until we actually can make it happen, but they're also struggling with the quarterback. They don't know what they're going to bring this year. I feel confident about that, the atmosphere that's going to be brought for the LSU game, and Kentucky feels a certain way about Lane Kiffin, like, and Kentucky is also Lane Kiffin's kryptonite. So I feel good about that LSU game, but we'll see if we beat Bama week 2 and we're rolling through SEC play that early. I overreact quite easily, and I will be overreacting a lot if we go out there and beat Bama. But I'm excited to see in offense that, especially in college football, with the middle of the field between the hashes being open all the time, and you have someone like Mikkel Skinner, who is just a freak athlete, and you have a head coach and OC who actually want to use the tight end spot, because we've had some pretty talented tight ends over the last couple of years, and they just don't get used. And now we have that position, along with on the outside, we're bringing in talent at receiver, but a versatile tight end who can play a middle of the field and consistently beat safety linebacker coverage. That's a nice thing for a quarterback trying to get his feet wet in college football. And I have a lot of faith in Minchie, but like Drew said, he competed with Carr at Notre Dame and almost took that spot, but he didn't, right? So we really don't know what he is. We know he's a freak athlete. He's got a cannon. Let's see how he does on the field. But I like how this is going, and Stein has won everybody over. You get 6, maybe 7 wins.
You get to a bowl. Seriously, you get to a bowl game, and you have a somewhat competitive season. Now, I like his Jake's take. Very excited about the football. We got to keep it elevated. We can't lose our minds when Stein loses multiple games. That's fair. But yeah.
I think Stein's bought himself a lot of grace with how he's come here and handled it. If we lose a couple against big, we're going to go back and talk about the schedule and how difficult it is. We would love a Cignetti type splash, but I think the fan base has to understand that we're not playing the same conference, right? Cignetti had a pretty cupcake year the first year, got to the playoff, and got smacked around. Year 2 is when he found his legs. Now, Cignetti's one of the best coaches in college football right now. But
he didn't get smacked around too much his first year. Didn't he still win like 10 games?
Yeah,
when he got to the playoff. Yeah. What was the playoff game though?
Okay.
So that's my point. Like, I just you can't. I think we have big time expectations, but understand it is the SEC. It's a lot different.
And another thing that I would just want to say too is Cignetti also had years of head coaching experience, and he was doing a great job with James Madison. Like this is Will Stein's first shot as a head coach, and it's in the SEC. We're probably, my guess is Kentucky's going to lose one game this year out of just pure coaching malpractice and a end of game situation, end of half situation. Like it's probably just going to happen. Like we have to understand in year 1, 2, as much as it is like roster pains and all these things, like there's also going to be coaching mistakes that are going to happen, and Will Stein's going to be learning on the job as well. Like
Stoops coached for 2 decades and still made those mistakes. So I mean, you can expect a year 1 coach to do it as well.
Yeah. Yep. Maria's asking, do you think bowl games will fall to the wayside? I'm assuming she's just kind of talking about.
I think they make too much money to be doing that. I think if anything, they'll just maybe find an opportunity where like players can get paid for playing in the bowl games or something. But
there's got to be an incentive to get the players to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, all right. Let's next topic. Where are we at? Let's go basketball roster updates. Drew, speak to us.
Yeah. So this past week, or I guess it was Saturday, Frank Kepnang committed to Kentucky.
Say his name again.
I think it's Frank Kepnang.
Is it Frank? Is it Frank or Frank?
Or is it Frank? Frank or Frank? Something.
It's Frank.
It's Frank.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So he committed to Kentucky. Obviously, presumably being the backup big. That is if Malachi Marino does return. I know there's obviously a lot of buzz over the last 48, 72 hours, and it keeps growing that he could potentially stay in the draft. We'll see. I know he's kind of mocked somewhere between like really late first round and early second round. He's not participating in the 5-on-5 scrimmages. I know there was a lot of talk about that. My take on it is, why would he? He keeps rising in the draft without really doing a whole lot. So if the NBA is actually something serious that he wants to do, his stock keeps rising without playing in it. And you're seeing it from Alan Graves as well. Like he's a guy that's mocked really high, who just from like normal basketball things, you wouldn't expect him there. So sometimes just being quiet and laying low can help you rise. If Malachi were to go play in the 5-on-5s and he struggles or something, his draft stock would immediately plumble probably. So I wouldn't put too much stock in him participating in the combine or not participating. I know he did his measurements today. But yeah, so Frank, I mean, he committed, and then pretty much this morning we got the word that he was granted his 7th year of eligibility. He's dealt with some injury issues in the past, but this will be his final year of college, and he also officially signed today. So he's presumed the backup big. We'll see from there. I believe Kentucky has 2 roster spots left. Whatever they decide to do with that will be interesting. I know we're all kind of monitoring what Milan Momcilovic does, one of the greatest shooters in college basketball history, played 3 years at Iowa State. So we'll see what he does. I know there hasn't been a whole lot of stuff about Alan Graves, but, you know, Kentucky could potentially get in that recruitment as well if he decides to pull out of the draft. So we'll see. I mean, other than the Frank commitment, it's kind of a wait and see. I think Pope is probably going to leave one spot open for Milan or Alan Graves or another guy in the draft that pulls out, or another European player. But other than that, I mean, the roster is pretty much done unless some late home run guys become available, or they'll add maybe one more depth piece, or, you know, potential red shirt or practice player, however you want to call it. So I think that's kind of where Kentucky's at now. It's more just monitoring Milan Momcilovic and some other NBA guys who are also in the portal, and we'll see what happens.
Dylan, jump in. What you got? Feeling?
Nope. Yeah, I'm gonna pass my kid back off to my wife. He ran up and got in my lap. Can you tell him who your favorite basketball player is?
No, hold on. Let me stop this shit. Let me get him out. Yeah, look here.
Can you tell him who your favorite basketball player is?
Basketball.
You love basketball. Is it Oway? Sorry, he's got shy now. Just seen the basketball on the thing and was yelling, Oway, Oway. And then last week I asked him, I told him, unfortunately, Oway doesn't play for Kentucky anymore. And he decided that.
Did you make him cry?
I said, who's your favorite player?
I cried.
And I didn't give him any other options. He told me Marino. So maybe that's a good sign that.
Okay.
Can you say Marino? Marino.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Good to see you, buddy.
Thanks, Lauren. Okay, so I think right now he hit it on the head that everything now turns to Momcilovic and Marino. That's where all eyes are turned. Or there's some international players I think they're going to go after if they don't, if they get one, if they get none, whatever. But I think if they get both, the roster's done. I think that I know there's a lot of Twitter talk going. I personally would be very shocked if Malachi Marino wasn't in blue and white next year. I would be very shocked.
Why? Because he would be taking a pay cut by going to the NBA?
No, I would just be shocked. Yes, it would be a pay cut, but
it would.
The guarantees and that kind of stuff and the way that works and getting closer to a contract, I think that he would be taking a pay cut, but I think next year's draft is extremely weak. I think he can show a ton, and I think that he would be compensated very well. I think that, people are being really hard on Mark Pope right now, but I saw that Evan Maekawa said that if Malachi would have been in the portal, he would have been the number 4 overall player. I personally, as much as I love Malachi, I'm close with the family. I think that's probably a little high, but that just gives you perspective. And I will say this, that, guys, every single thing I heard, I'm not a source guy. I don't try to get into that game, but I do know some people over there, and I've heard that there's some good vibes going around the Momcilovic thing that are pretty good. I'll be honest. Now, I love this staff. Randow, I appreciate you for shouting me out for saying I've been positive. We've seen this staff screw some big-time recruitments up, and there's no hiding that. Even as somebody that's been a huge Pope supporter, so I'm not saying we're anywhere near done. The kid still has to get out of the draft. He really, really, really wants to stay in the draft, but I think that they're going to offer an amount of money that really is going to put them in their own class. So if you start to see that he's going to pull his name out, I would feel pretty good about him. And I like the roster Pope's built if we can get Malachi back and add one more player that I think could be a go-to scorer. I think the roster's better than expected. And I love the addition of Frank because I think that Kentucky will have some games where they need more physicality. And I think that everybody's been talking about this guy. If it's a replacement for Malachi, which it's not, then it's not great. But guys, how much more could you ask for than the second best shot blocker in the Big Ten to come in and give you 12 to 15 minutes a game?
And look at the size of this roster, too.
And he's experienced. This will be his 7th year college. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Rebecca Big, you can't ask for much more.
I like the roster, and I think Hawthorne and Cam could take big steps up. I think Usman could be a lot better than people think. I think they could though afford one more proven commodity as a scorer. And Momcilovic, I think, makes them go from a top 20 team to a top 10 Final Four contender because I think he doesn't just fill the go-to scorer role. He fills the wing role. He fills the star role. He fills the shooting. This team, I think, lacks some shooting. I mean, he shot 50% on almost 8 attempts a game. That's unheard of, y'all. That's better than Kobe Bryant numbers. So I think you couldn't make a player in a lab better than the void that's needed on this team. And I think that they're going to do everything they can to get Momcilovic.
Let me bring TB in. TB, again, with this roster, what we're looking at on paper, it's size wise, it's a decent roster. Now, what I'm still struggling with is nationally when people look at this roster, I like him or not, Goodman put out or was it Goodman? I think it was Goodman put out, or either one. Somebody put out one of those.
If it was something stupid, it was probably Goodman.
Where someone said that Kentucky, no, it was Andy Katz, said that this roster, Kentucky's current roster, would be in line. He had them like this way too early, for the tournament, like potentially in a play-in game. I mean, where I'm going with this is that from a national perspective, whether it's Katz, Goodman, like him or not, but it's just not them. You got the guys from the field of 68. A lot of national media people, TB, when they look at where we are right now, it's not the Kentucky of old. And again, how do we go ahead?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what the national people say. If we depended on what national people said preseason,
I get that.
We wouldn't have 8 banners because according to them, Kentucky can never do anything right.
Nah, hold on, Terry.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I agree with that. I agree with TB there. I mean, for the most part.
What I am saying is the great Al McGuire, the coach of Marquette, talked about how people view Kentucky. We're not viewed as favorably as the other blue bloods. That's all I'm saying. Right? You can say I'm wrong, but they always pick Kentucky a step below. So okay. I'm not looking for outside validation on what this roster looks like because it's in their best interest that Kentucky sucks. So I don't care about what Dick Vitale says. I don't care about any of that. Nor should anybody in the BBN care about what outsiders think. They don't think very highly of us because we've been kicking their ass for 95 years. So I don't care. That's all I'm saying.
Well, not
because
the last.
At the end of it.
Was that the first 95? Because it's the last few years, it's not been the case.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got but I'm not looking for outside validation because this is what happens, right? I will tweet this to you guys. I got a screenshot, right? This was something from like probably year 5 or 6 of Cal. And somebody tweeted out some whatever that, of all these teams ranked in the top 7, Cal's only got these many teams to the Final Four, and it was better than the national average. They will slant anything to be negative to Kentucky, right? They want to pretend that, all these top draft picks go to Kentucky. What have they won? Have you heard anything about John Shire at Duke?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything about how he can coach, but all we had to hear about was Cal not sealing deal, right? Tubby Smith had that famous quote at the SEC media days, and they said, "Coach, your team has picked this." He said, "All I know is at the end of the year, I get a trophy from SEC headquarters," because he had 5 regular season and 5 tournament trophies that we got, right? What I'm saying is the media and all these folks don't like Kentucky. They're going to denigrate Kentucky, but we win anyway. That's all I'm saying. So
it gets them more views, it gets them more clicks, it gets them more anything. The media is better if they can be negative about Kentucky than they can be about positive, because they already know for the most part Kentucky fans are 99% of the time going to be positive. If the national media
bigger picture on the national media stuff, guys, here's the real reason. Last off season, they were blowing smoke at us every chance they got. But if you look, Field 68 was Love in UK last year. Of course. But you know what? If you notice, they were getting to do their show live from Rupp Arena. They were getting to do their show live from UK's practice. Kentucky has taken this approach, and this is not a shot at Pope. This is not a shot at Cal. This is not a shot at Stoops. It is clear that they are getting it from somebody above them. When things go bad, you go silent and you shut everybody out. And if you look, last year, there's been media members that were getting access after we beat St. John's that were writing phenomenal articles about Pope and like he's going to turn this around. When they were live from practice last year, that's just part of that game. And I do agree with you, Terry and Randow. They've always been slanted against us, but they've got real bad every single time they've been shut out from the program. And that's what's going on right now. And I don't take that as a slide to Pope. We saw Stoops last year. He was told to shut everybody out. Cal, he was told to shut all the big people out, and he didn't care to. And then Pope is clear. So it's clear if it's happened with 3 straight coaches, it's clear they're getting that message from somebody above them to do that. That's the advice they're getting. And I've talked to some people in PR. I think there's some people over there that are pushing, hey, let's play the game. Let's play. And then there's some people at the top. So maybe that's a different conversation, but maybe a change at the top could help, because I think that's what's going on with the national media. It's easy to pile on them right now because they're missing on recruits, and it's real easy to take that ammo when you've been shut out completely.
That's fair too. Davo, I haven't heard from you. Let me get Davo. Let me get Davo in. Davo, tell us how you feeling.
Well, Timmy can go here real quick.
Oh, what? You go.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, okay. So whatever comes to this roster, in my mind, it's done. Like I hope we get a surprise, but at this point, I'm going to treat this roster like it was the year one roster, and we're like, who the hell are these guys, right? And they ended up making a really fun run to the Sweet 16, right? So that's just what I'm going to hope for. I'm gonna put on my big boy pants and all my blue all the time, and I'm gonna cheer like hell for this team. I'm gonna cheer like hell for Pope. I mean, this is my program. This is what we do. We get frustrated, and then when time comes, it's time to cheer, right? But whenever it comes to the outside noise, Kentucky is the perfect drug, right? Basically, for all the addicts and all the druggies out there, right? A media like Field of 68, they need Kentucky, right? They need that they need that hit.
Right? Ratings, numbers.
They need Kentucky to get their high, and so that's just what they do.
And when Kentucky basketball is on any national stage, ESPN, CBS, the numbers, people are still. I mean, it's Kentucky basketball.
It is.
Yeah. So, all right. Let me.
There's a Louisville fan trolling in here, by the way.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? Yeah. The fact that we got a Louisville fan hanging with a Kentucky podcast, I mean, tells us all we.
Hey, wait, nobody said Milan as a cat. Whoever that is, John Boy SH684. I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, but, it's not happened yet, but
yeah, nobody's saying that. Like it's everybody just. I'm just saying that I think they would be in a good spot if he got out of the draft. Where's Randow at? I want to hear Randow on this. I love how positive he is.
Randow must had a food being delivered to his room.
There he is, Randow. I'm ready to hear what you've got to say about
this. Did you go do number one or number two?
I was FaceTiming the family. I told I heard my name called. I said, "Let me call you right back." So, round of shots getting it priority right now.
Family good.
Everybody's good. Right. Here's what I think people are missing, and it was put in perspective for me as well because I was missing it. Yes, we haven't had the big splash recruitment. We've missed for sure on some guys. We've seemingly screwed up some recruitments that were in the bag, right? But if you go and look at what we retained, I think that's being missed, right? Dylan just talked about Malachi Moreno. If he comes back, that's massive. Braden Hawthorne would have been a top 30 transfer portal guy. Cam Williams would have been a top 30 to 50 transfer portal guy, right or wrong. So those your three core pieces right there, you were able to retain. I know it seems silly, but Reese Potter is he getting slept on? I talked to Mr. Hawthorne. He thinks so. He's like, this is a 7-footer who can shoot, and I'm super impressed with what he's doing. So I think there's roster spots that are being out there or that are out there that aren't being considered because we retained them and didn't bring something new, which in my mind is more better because they know the system, right? They yes, we haven't seen them play, but there's some high level talent there. Cam Williams was the first dude Pope went and got out last year, sought after and beat out Louisville for him. I think that's the other piece that people don't understand, because it happened so quick and they do move in silence. Cam was getting recruited by some big time schools, including Louisville. He only wanted to go to Kentucky. Pope wins that battle. Braden Hawthorne, when he opens up his recruitment, when DeVries leaves West Virginia, was getting courted heavily by Duke. And yes, Braden Hawthorne was a Kentucky fan, who I'm sure that plays, but he goes and redshirts for Pope and comes back next year. And then I asked straight up when I was able to talk to him, I said, do you think Pope's capable? Talking to Walter Hawthorne, do you think he's capable? Do you think this team can be successful? Is it going to highlight Braden Hawthorne? And he says, if I didn't think Pope and this roster, or I believe Pope would put a good roster together in his coaching ability, I would have hit the portal. I would not be talking to you right now. My son and I would have gone somewhere else, right? And so this is a top 30, 35 recruit who has now gained 15, 20 pounds since he's been there over a year and can be like a guy. So when we say we don't have a wing, do we want Milan? Absolutely. But do we also already have a stud on the roster? Maybe. So like TV said, I don't really care what the national media thinks. I don't really care what the other fan bases think. Yes, it would be nice to talk like we were Tennessee right now and just whoever we wanted the portal we got, and we got all this money to go do and Rick Barnes swamps on, and we're going to be able to finally get him to a Final Four. Like, they're winning the offseason right now. But guess what? We learned last year you cannot win a championship in May. So I want a team that resembles year one, and not necessarily in pieces and in structure and talent, but with dudes who were just written off. They were playing at another school very, very well, but they weren't given the opportunity to play here, and here being Kentucky. So I just want to see this team with Pope playing for the school, themselves, for a championship. I think the team is going to be slept on, and I'm excited to see what it can do. And I do think that we have the ability to add one more piece. And once we do get that splash hire, or splash recruitment, if it's the right one, I think the narrative changed pretty quickly.
It could. There's a guy on here in the chat at Dave Slone. Louisville better show up, because if they shit the bed like Pope did, or like, for the record, shout out to Louisville for what they've done during the portal season. I mean, the jury's still out on Kelsey doing something in the postseason, but
or the regular season.
Or
I mean, honestly, he beat a bad Kentucky team. What else has he done? I mean,
I just had to remind
games. Won 25 games in a conference that the 5 of us or 6 of us could have won 25 games in. I mean, that first year in the ACC, Duke was the only team that was even close to being ranked all year, Duke and Clemson. And they beat Clemson once, and Clemson whipped them real good another time. And then Duke beat them 3 times. Like, Kelsey has 2 ranked wins, and it was against the Clemson team and then us last year. And I'm just going to say it. I get it. They won last offseason. But, like, it just shows you how narrative spinning can happen, because, I mean, he has been extremely, extremely unsuccessful in the postseason. He had a home game his first year at Louisville. Literally, I mean, it was – what would have happened to us if we were playing in Louisville in the first round? I mean, and then he got blown out by a bad Creighton team. I mean, it's easy to win this offseason, and I'm going to say something else that might make them mad. I don't like their roster. I think
it's worse than last year's roster.
I think Flory's good, but the kid from Iowa was clutch and had humongous shots. But what would have happened if he would have been our starting power forward going into next year? This fan base would not have been happy. And then Carter Knox is injury prone and looked horrible. He looked like he was worse the second year than he was the first year. And then they're all going nuts about this Woolley kid. I mean, he was on your roster last year, and like Colin Chandler, y'all talk so bad about. He averaged 3 less points a game than him.
Are we going to get to the point where we're just going to talk to Anthony Eason the rest of the show?
Hope harder, hillbillies. I mean, y'all have not made the second weekend in 10 years. Not 10. I mean,
what is their record against us too? I mean, really. I mean,
it took our players getting in a yelling match at each other beforehand at Louisville if it sold out for y'all to be able to beat us for the first time in 10 years. I mean, I don't know hang the banner, I guess, boys. Y'all won the offseason. Number 1 ranked portal class. I hope if we
their best get is that kid from Dayton. I don't think the kid from Oregon is. I mean, he's not Mikal Brown, right? So their best scorer option is I'm blanking on his name, but the kid that they got from Dayton, who I really liked.
That kid is good.
The roster as a whole is worse than it was last year. They're just spending a lot more money on it. Now they might get a point guard who actually wants to play the whole season instead of saying he's got a back injury.
Well, Shelstad just had a season-ending injury, so
I think they are going to be. I think they are going to be.
No, last year.
Yeah,
I think the big kid that just
they still play that hillbilly card. I mean, really.
I think there is a segment of Louisville fans though that does want Kelsey to prove it. I mean, I do think that they are going to be good at the center position. That kid that they just got that reclassed is really good.
Oh yeah.
And I think Flory's good, but overall, I don't know if they have enough shooting. I'm not sold on Pope forever. Like, I really want him to work, and I think he gets a lot of crap he doesn't deserve. And I really, really, really want him to work. So I'm not trying to say this is a positive to Pope, but I don't think Kelsey's it personally. I think he's a good hype man that can recruit and can seal the deal since they brought back the Papa John's money. And I don't think he can coach. I do not think he can coach at this level.
The jury remains on Coach Kelsey. I mean, shout out to them. They got by ratings, all that rankings and all that. They did a great job at the portal. You know what, Anthony Eason, we'll be watching the cards throughout the season. We'll keep talking. All right, let's go next topic. All right, guys. This was one of the hot freaking topics of last week. Coach Pope, Mark Pope, social media's Q&A, guys. I mean, TB, I'm going to start with TB because TB is our residential professor when it comes to the TB3 rule. TB, real quick for people who are just tuning in, high level. What is the TB3 rule that applies to every Kentucky coach? Go.
Every 3-year coach has won 69% of their games. Every 3-year coach at Kentucky has reached at least the Elite Eight, and like every 3-year coach has been SEC Coach of the Year. So
exactly,
there you go. People think I don't like Pope, and that's not the case. I'm simply saying that this is the expectation. Yep. Within 3 years, we kind of know how this is going to go, which is why Billy G didn't get a third year. Mm-hmm. So I do think if Pope understands it, I like the Q&A, but we're at that point where, Randow's in Missouri. I'm at the show me stage, right? We talk about winning the off season. We talk about PR battles. We can talk about all this stuff till we're blue in the face, and it makes you feel good, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted Pope to talk. He talked. He dropped the mic with 50 cents, many men, wish death upon me, and that got hyped up. And I don't wish death. I will keep saying this all off season. My only hope is I don't have to listen to Carl Ravitch tell Jimmy Dykes 10 to 12 times this year, if Kentucky can cut it to 10, this can be a game. That's my standard. I am not one of these fans like he needs to win a championship. I'm simply asking, please stop embarrassing my team on national television. Whatever that means, whatever the roster looks like, whatever interviews you have to do, that's all I'm asking. I'm not begging for a championship or even a Final Four, but please, I don't want to have.
But we would like one of both, right?
Right. See, that's the strong man. Like, oh, you don't like Pope. You just want championships every year.
That's
I don't want to be embarrassed. Look, I'm going to say this real quick because I know we need to wind this up. My lowest moment as a Kentucky fan wasn't the 9-win season. It wasn't at least in 2015. It was 2009. We played North Carolina and College Game Day was there. That's when Tyler Hansbrough was playing. And the panel was talking about North Carolina on their way to the championship, right? And then they said, well, what about Kentucky? And those dudes fucking laughed, right? Like I just said, I don't care about the national media. I don't want to be laughed at.
But you do,
right?
Nick, you just said that. but you do.
And right now, losing by double digits a lot, 60% of the time. Like
you laid it out.
I have full faith and hope, but I can't do another season where it's like I can't be down 25 points to fucking Vanderbilt. I can't be getting run out of the gym by Georgia. I can't see another 30-4 run against Texas A&M. I don't think that makes me a bad fan because I don't want to see that.
It doesn't make you a bad fan because your stats, the information you're providing is fact. So people who are reacting to people who are calling you a bad fan, that's on them. But let's stay with this narrative. Dave, I'll bring you in. Pope did his Q&A. You know, the question out there from me, did he actually answer the tough questions? I mean, they threw questions from what I didn't watch it all, but recruiting whiffs, NIL leverage, they talked players coming and going, Malachi Marino situation. Was this a PR spin, Davo, or was he being, was this true transparency? What say you? Go ahead.
I don't care about it. I just want to win.
Give me a little more than
it was funny. He gave us a really cool meme video, with the 50 cents drop. I don't care. Just win.
But did you watch any of it? Listen to any of his response?
I mean, yeah,
Do you think they were genuine or? But here's the thing. I don't know this for a fact. I'm asking if anybody knows this, please chime in. I would think that all these questions were filtered, were probably put in buckets like, all right, coach, these are questions that you can rattle off an answer right away. These are questions that you might want to take a moment to think about. And these are questions, we don't know if you really want to answer these.
These were predetermined questions that he already had scripted answers for. Is what they were. We know this.
Is that how everyone's feeling? Because that's how I'm thinking too.
Just win.
I think that
Dylan, go ahead. Dylan, go.
I think that I'm the opposite on this. I ultimately just want to win too. That I'm not the opposite on. I think this ended up going as well for them as it possibly could. I know that I know I'm with you, Davo, just win. But y'all, we are all online way too much to say just win and then him not speak. And I love him, but that was his plan. I'm not going to speak for 7 or 8 months. And that. And then he just learned that that's not possible here. And I think that was
such a Gillespie vibe, Dylan. The fact he went radio silent to me for that long.
I have a bigger picture thing, and this is not against Pope. I think they're getting told to do that from the top end of the university because Cal did it, Stoops did it, Pope's doing it right now. Like when things go bad, they're told to be silent, and I will stand by that. And that's not sources. That's just I think there's
told by who? The university?
I think the people in media PR. I meant the people in media PR. I think that it's. I actually have different not.
Don't say anything that's going to ruin your. Yeah.
No. I think I really, I'm not as down on Mitch as some of these other people that it's their personality to be down on Mitch. Like I'm not saying he's great and I'm not saying he's horrible. I don't have as big of an opinion, but it's some people's whole personality to hate Mitch Barnhart. But I will say his motto is kind of less talk the better, and I think that gets passed down to the coaches. And I think, but when it comes to the Q&A, I think that Mark Pope handled that as well as possible. Some people are saying, oh, they're softball questions. Y'all, there are just some things you cannot answer. I'm just going to be honest. There's a couple things they have plenty of money. I'm not saying that. But if the money was an issue, it's not. But I'm saying you can't go on there and say, hey, we don't have enough money. I mean, then you look horrible. There's some things that the fact that he started this whole thing off with answering the 14 of 20 question showed that he meant business. I mean, and somebody said, well, he should have went into greater detail on this or that. Those are probably people who are sitting there with a picture of an upside down cat as their profile picture, and their name is Wildcat Fan 236789110, and they sit there and tweet.
You left a few numbers off that But
yeah, and I think that Mark Pope handled this specifically as well as he could have.
Okay.
And in the day of social media, I think you have to speak more than they would probably like. But ultimately, Dabo's right. Just go win. But I think this went as well as it could have, because when he first tweeted it, I thought this could go bad, and it went perfect. And I think like the, hey, I'm going to your wedding. Hey, I'm not going to your wedding. Hey, the Malone's dinner. Like, I think you got to throw a little bit of that. You can't sit and look at a camera for 12 minutes over 3 days and just answer all hard hitting. And I think today kind of being funny to end it was smart. I think they handled it as well as possible. And I did have a conversation that, I'll be honest, this was a lot of Pope's idea here. I think he stepped out of his box, and I had some really good conversations with the folks over at UK that this was Pope's kind of idea of like, let me speak directly to them. I think he still got a little bit more to do, but this was a huge step in a world where we're all on the internet all the time.
Randow, give us your take on the Q&A.
So I'm not gonna. I believe what Dylan's saying is that at times folks are getting told to do something. I also say that we have who have we seen from other college basketball programs talk right now during the portal? We saw Todd Golden come out and say something because he was rumored to the NBA job, and he kind of have to. And then I think Houston's head coach came out and said something because he wanted to support his guy going to the draft. But I mean, Rick Barnes has crushed it. He hadn't said anything when Little boys come out. They're doing well. They're not saying anything. I guess when you win, you don't necessarily have to say anything. But LSU, they have what 2-3 players in the roster. You don't see Will Wade come out and say anything addressed to it. So I don't.
Hey, Randow, my bounce back on that would be is I do think that we see them when they get recruits, they tweet when that like Pope's assistants do that. But I also think like Will Wade went on Jim Rome. I think that's the thing that's a little different there. That like they're going on some national shows. They're doing, but not. You're right. They're not doing direct press conferences. Todd Golden's the only one.
Right. And I liked what he did. I think it was good. I don't think it was. I don't know how you could say it was bucket questions. Like you couldn't predict what the fan base was going to say, and you probably could predict. At least I did. It was going to be way worse than it actually was. Like, I mean, there were some definite trolls in there that were asking silly things. But for the most part, it was just fans wanting to know, like, give us some behind the scenes type things. And Drew mentioned it on our show one Saturday of like, we could have like 2 of the best guard gets that we could have ever hoped for when it comes to Zoom and Wilkins. But we don't know, right? We didn't know that until this just came out. Like when Pope was talking about why they wanted them and their assist rate, and makes you start thinking differently. That was a huge win, because what we've got was, oh damn, we missed on Rob Wright, had to go get Zoom as our backup, right? Wilkins, this Furman kid, who knows about him? Maybe he's good, maybe he's not. But if he would have came out right away when we did land him, and you go chase Rob Wright, that was what it was. You didn't get him. Was he money chasing? Was he ever really real? I won't know. But when you land Zoom, you could be like, hey, this is the first guard we reached out to in the portal. Like, this is our number one guy. We had a chance to talk to Rob. It didn't work out. But boom, this is why we liked him. Like, those sort of things, like Drew was saying. Like Dylan was saying, when you land a recruit, maybe you come out there and explain the why a little bit better. But when it comes to the silence, and there was a lot of pressure from a lot of folks to want to hear from Pope. When it first came out, I thought it was a terrible idea. I didn't know how he's going to be answering some of these questions, and then he just did, and he did it the right way. The
real quick
thing.
Yeah, one of his, I think I'm looking at some of these notes. Someone asked why he has been so quiet lately, and he dropped a response like he shared his flight log mentioning trips to Tel Aviv, Slovenia, and Italy. Now, granted, all those, he whiffed on all those, right? Did he? Right. Anyway, here's the thing. People watching us
real quick.
No one is anti-Pope. We want he's our guy. He's our coach. We want him to succeed. We want the program to be part of the national scene. We want to be in that conversation where, like we've always been. But that's not the case now. Now let me for out of respect for time, we talked about the women's program. We talked Kentucky football program. How well they're doing in the age of NIL and everything. They somehow have got their stuff together. But when it comes to the basketball program, we hear this narrative of that, okay, JMI, everything. There's this, the whole NIL structure is so fucked up for the men's basketball program. Help me, guys, as a fan, as just someone who wants to talk about Kentucky sports. What's the disconnect here when it comes to the men's program whiffing and football and basketball or women's not? Help me out here.
I think Randow, go ahead, and then I have an answer on that.
All right.
Well, for basketball women's, I think I was just hyping it up, and it's on the rise. But I also think you're talking apples and oranges, potatoes, tomatoes here. Like it's completely different.
Talk to me.
So it's just, the money's different, the exposure's different. Like I'm like Clara Strack is, we saw nationally, right? And she got a lot of attention through the NCAA tournament. That's so rare when it comes to women's basketball to be like someone who can get outside. And there's been no issues from what I heard about JMI and local deals, right? It's the exclusivity that they're looking to get and talking to 2 agents, right? So, without sounding like I'm beating my chest, but like I've just talked to 2 by happenstance, and they both said JMI was not, and this is men's basketball, JMI is not hard to work with. The quote I got from one-on-one was, you just need a competent counsel to talk through some of these things, and they are willing to negotiate it. But like any other business, if you come with some bullshit and they're like, they think they can eat, and they're like, well, I don't have to give this up because, you're not being represented well, then it is what it is. Like they're going to try to make the best deal for them, and you have to have competent counsel for the player that you're representing, and be able to work through those contract things. But from what I've been heard is, yes, there's some weirdness to JMI, but it's not like they're going in there, sitting at the table and going, we ain't changing this thing. Like they are willing to negotiate for the player, based off what their specific needs are or wants are, I guess.
Okay. Who haven't I heard? TB, jump in. What's been your
Dylan
take?
had something.
All right, we're good.
But my 2 cents is this. We are in the weeds when it comes to NIL and all this kind of stuff. Like we can break down, no, JMI structure is different on the men's side. If you are John Q average fan and you're in London, Kentucky, you're in Pikeville, you're in Paducah, right? You're in these places, and you look at what the women's team is doing, what we discussed, right? They've hit the transfer portal. They've got 3 McDonald's All-Americans. It's on the come up. And then you look at Will Stein, who's out here selling Kentucky football and getting top recruits. We have to take into account the average fan's going to be like, you can sell women's basketball, you can sell Kentucky football, but Kentucky men's basketball, we've got the things, and this is different. You can't sell Kentucky men's basketball? Really? Huh.
I also don't think it's a sell the program thing. I don't think that's it either. But Dylan, go ahead.
So this is the part of the show where I have been like, because I've got some people on here that are truly Pope supporters. I'm back at it. We're all Pope supporters, but through the lens of there's a few of us that will kind of take this how he's doing in the portal, to another level. Drew, let me go with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just jump in back to the Q&A question. I think, look, I've been very critical in group chats and some on Twitter, other shows, like being negative about the offseason, but that's for other reasons, not a big deal. In terms of the Q&A stuff, I put a tweet out about it. I actually loved it. I thought it was number one. It was a great idea. It was a brand new idea. Like I've never seen something like that in sports before, of a coach legitimately, first off, who's like also under a huge microscope of having like negativity going on, and just saying like, vent to me in my comments with questions and I'm going to answer you. Like that was unique and crazy, number one. But number two, like, you know, people can put out that he's been quiet, this or that, but like, come on, let's be real. Like he's been grinding for the last month in recruiting freshmen and recruiting the portal. Like he's spending a lot of time in what he's doing. He doesn't just have 25 minutes to sit around and talk to the media, especially when people are just going to ask him questions about the recruiting struggles or what's going on in the future. Instead, he took some questions. I think for the most part, he was very honest and transparent in them. Yeah, he can't give you the answer of, oh, you've missed on 14 out of 20. Like, what's the actual truth of it? Well, he's not going to tell us that, because some of them could be faults that they had in recruiting, and he's not going to tell us the actual reason behind it because it makes himself look bad.
Here's my thing. I think Pope can coach. I think he has more ranked Ken Palm wins, top 25 wins, than anybody in the country the last 2 years outside of Michigan. Like that's
I did not know that.
He can win, but he also can get the doors blown off of him sometimes too. And that's the balance. That
you take the good, you take the bad. You have to tell the whole story.
Yes, and that's where I'm going.
We point to the wins, but I'm watching us getting blown out by Georgia. Like,
yeah. Here's the problem,
though,
Terry. I
sorry.
think that right now, being you and a couple of people on here are willing to tell both stories. There are a group of fans that want to tell the story over here too. There are ones that want to tell the wins. There's a lot of them over here, especially on Twitter, that want to tell the losses of, like, they remind you every 2 seconds of those losses. But here's the part that I think you can blame JMI, you can blame this, you can blame that. Alex Wilkins is a top 20 transfer portal player. Malachi would be a top 5. Last year they spent the most money. It's not JMI. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. He can coach on the court, but sometimes we just don't have the horses, and that's a problem that we have to fix. And that should be the easy part at Kentucky. The second thing, we can talk about PR all we want. The questions were great, and I've told people this at the university. I know other people who are in debates on certain outlets and certain things don't want him to talk to the media, but I'm telling you guys that one thing that I've told them, guys, a couple simple text messages to some media members that you really trust. I don't say it has to be a certain outlet that it's always been. Shoot me a text. Hey, this Rob Wright thing, it doesn't have to be me. It could be any media. Shoot somebody a text and say, this Rob Wright thing's not going great, but we feel really good about Zoom Diallo. Could you guys put that out in a good way that we like his strengths here, his strengths there, and then it comes out in an article. Like the radio silence thing, I think could be fixed with it can be to any outlet. It doesn't have to be to me. It doesn't have to be to Matt Jones. It doesn't have to be to Jack Pilgrim. But like somebody with some validity, you could do a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours as the off season goes. And, and that Pope doesn't have time for that. But there's some assistant coaches you could tell to take their liberty. There's a PR director over there that I love that you could tell them to take their liberty. I think that the PR and the recruiting is the things he's got to fix. And then it shows on the court. Like every time they're in a close game, he outcoaches the other person. But sometimes he doesn't have the horses and they don't come out motivated and they get down by so much they can't come back. So we've got the on-court stuff fixed. We got to figure out the other stuff that should be easy at the University of Kentucky.
Dylan,
let's real quick. Let's remind people is that when it comes to execution, it's on the players to do that on the floor. Now, I think the consensus is that we're confident that Coach Pope knows what the fuck he's doing, coaching wise. So, TV, you're laughing at me? Come on, speak.
So now it's the player.
No, I'm not saying now.
I saw
players,
but
it's a. Go ahead.
You're right.
No, go. Talk to me, bro.
No, I mean you're right. Like now it's like, well, the players have to do it. I saw the number 3
I'm not
overall
saying
pick,
it's
Reed
just
Shepherd,
the
not take a
players.
shot until 5 minutes left in the first half. We're getting beat by Oakland, but now it's the players. Now we can take a nuanced thing. It's fine. It's whatever. My only thing is when
act like
when
that was
people
the
talk
first
about
time we got beat by a. I mean, come on. You talk about only saying one side of the picture. We got to paint both sides of the picture.
Or if he didn't
right?
have
or,
to
or
come
show,
down
show
22.
That's
yeah,
kind of
like-
where I was going. Here's the thing.
and
All right,
it's
for the
fine.
record,
It's
people,
whatever.
real
It's
quick,
whatever.
real quick, people in the chat. I, as a host, I have to ask questions that will get this kind of a response. It doesn't necessarily mean I believe the question, but go ahead. TB, I'll go with you. Go. Talk to me. I threw the narrative.
I'm done.
You know,
Have a good night.
Coach. No.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean,
Here,
no.
let me piggyback off what Dylan was saying. Let me piggyback off what Dylan was saying. I think it was a good
All right,
point.
all right, go ahead.
Pope doesn't need. I think the only thing of what Dylan was saying was it would be nice if when somebody committed, for instance, when Zoom Diallo committed or Alex Wilkins committed or Justin McBride, a little comment about like, okay, Zoom Diallo, for instance, okay, boom, this is our point guard, this is our guy, we love his game, he's gonna bring this and this and this and blah 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 blah. Instead of like that is the only thing that I think Pope really needs to be doing speaking in the offseason. I don't care if he goes on
But
these
didn't that burn us with Stokes's little?
Well, no, after they commit and sign, not before.
After. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But and then wait till the roster is finished.
Let's not ever announce a recruit 15
That's
before the
gotcha.
number one player in the country's
Yep.
announcement from our own UK Sports.
Yeah.
Account. That was just a dumb decision.
Absolutely.
All I'm saying is the one thing that I would ask Pope moving forward is when a guy commits in the portal, just give us a couple sentences about him of what I was talking on Heavy Port Sports with Randow about was just give us a little something to sell us, make us excited. Like my point on there was, Zoom and Alex are great. The only problem is like we're just filling the void of what we think they can be and not what the staff's actual vision or plan is behind it. Instead, just give us a little 3-sentence message to introduce us and all those things. And then look, when the roster's finished, then go on KSR or go on these other shows or national shows and talk about the whole thing and the whole process of how it got done. I don't need you going on a national media show when we have 4 roster spots and we don't really know the truth behind 3 of the misses of the guys we were recruiting either. We don't need to know that. I don't really care to know it. Like if Kentucky misses out on a recruitment, it is what it is. Move on from it and go fill the void of what you missed on. If you missed on Rob Wright, then good thing we pivoted to Zoom Diallo and he was right there and we got him within 24 hours. But like, give us a little comment when a guy commits and then wait till the roster's finished to go on the shows and talk about the entire thing. That's all.
I'll say this to finish this out because I gotta head upstairs and do bedtime with the kiddo. But
absolutely, bro.
I think this is the big thing, guys. Like, there's all this stuff in the off season. But you go beat Kansas second game of the season with Tyron Stokes on the floor, everything changes. And not just that. 3 weeks later, you beat Louisville, or 2 weeks later, you beat whoever we're playing in the CBS Classic. And, like, you don't have any blowout. Like, keep at least a couple of those games close till we can get to conference. Like, can't be having what happened last year and everything changes. Like, that's the point that Davo made that is true. They have a lot of things they can fix right now, recruiting being a major one, PR being one. But ultimately, when they get on the court, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't care if the roster's like it is now. I think Pope's going to do every single thing in his power to win that Kansas game. And I think Chicago's going to be rocking. If anybody wants to hop in the car, I'll be going up for that. That place is going to be rocking. And you win that game, everything changes.
Before I let you leave, Dylan, I tried to watch as much as I could of Pope's Q&A. One thing that I didn't see, question-wise, and I'm going to throw this to the group here. Does he feel like he's on the hot seat? Because here's my take too. We know Billy Donovan's out there. He's vacationing basically for this year, and BBN has wanted him in the past. So you got a high-profile guy that has won at the at the elite stage of college basketball. Now, granted, he did it before NIL, but he
ultimately get question. I think Mark's not crazy. He knows the expectations here.
Okay.
Hot seat. He probably has his thoughts. I mean that I didn't love the thing at the end of the year of I've done better than Cal did. Like that may be even true. The better the last 2 year thing. Like I didn't love that, but he knows the expectations here, and I don't know if he knows he's on the hot seat, but here's the one thing that everybody keeps talking about: hot seat this, Billy Donovan that, all this. Y'all, we have no idea who's going to be making that decision. And I think that's a big, big role in it.
Do we even know who the next possible AD or co-ADs are?
One potential name out there. That's it.
And I think that it's Matt Jones said, and he knows when it comes to AD stuff, he knows the people to say this. He said that they were about 2 weeks away from hiring somebody about 7 or 8 weeks ago. Okay. So that tells me that they saw the fan reaction to this stuff and they had to pivot. They were probably going in-house and they no longer are going in-house, would be my guess. I bet they were close to a decision, and this fan pushback that made them pivot from the Mitch Barnhart job is probably the same one that made them pivot from an in-house hire. I think I'm good friends with Mark Hill, but I don't think he's going to be the next AD. If he would have been, Pope's job probably would have been safe for a little while. So I think that Mark knows the expectations here, and he knows if it's just a failure of a season, he's likely gone. But honestly, guys, we have zero idea who the AD is going to be, and I think that decision has to be made before we truly know how hot the seat is.
All right.
So, all right, guys, thank you guys.
You got to go. All right. Appreciate you, Dylan. I'll be in touch, brother.
Kevin, I'll say this. So there's a few things, and I know we're going to wrap this up, that is true. Okay, there is no way in the world everybody understands, everybody knows that I was not a big fan of the Mark Pope hire. I wasn't, right? But at the end of the day,
hold on. Let me get where's he at? There he is. Oh, there's that handsome devil.
But
I didn't realize I was going.
At the end of the day, I can't be anti-Mark Pope, but that would make me an anti-fan of the University of Kentucky men's basketball. I can't be. I'm going to be a fan. I'm anti-losing, right? I'm anti-losing by 30. I'm anti-losing by getting down by 40. Okay, yep. I'm sick of that, right?
Great.
It just is what it is, and it's also true that when it comes to this recruiting thing right now, Mark Pope's kind of a cornball. So we don't know how much that's hurting things, right? And then whenever it comes to JMI in the NIL structure, whenever we're talking, different programs at the university, whether it's women's basketball, baseball, football, so on and so on. Men's basketball is a totally different animal. Like the demand is more. The pay scale is a lot higher, so it's different whenever it comes to that and how that works. So that's something people need to think about as well.
Yep. All right. For sake of time, let's keep going. Dan Issel, Kentucky legend. TB, I'll start with you because you and me are the outside of me being the old grumpy man who tells you kids to get off my lawn. I think you're next in the line of old men here. Dan Issel.
I'm 48 years old.
I know. I've got you by 11 years. And my 59th birthday just a few weeks ago hit me very hard because it's my last run in the 50s before all right, I'm gonna stop whining.
It down, baby.
I know, because I got you beautiful people hanging with me tonight. So Dan Issel was on FanDuel's TV's FanDuel's Run It Back with Michelle Beadle, Lou Williams, Chandler Parsons. So he was asked why Kentucky hasn't won a national championship since 2020. 2012. Yeah, 2012.
You got it.
Good.
You got it. Sorry.
He dropped. Issel made a comment with NIL. We can't cheat like we used to. We need Boogie, DeMarcus Cousins, to kick in more money. For shits and giggles, we're not going to stay on this too long. But I think the proverbial narrative is that all schools cheat. And we like to think that our school doesn't cheat. But let's be honest. All schools cheat. And if Dan Issel makes a comment about, paying players, whatever, it is what it is. But seriously, what did you think of Issel's comments? TV?
I thought it was funny. Like I'll say that y'all like to think that people only come to the University of Kentucky because of the name on their chest. Y'all like to think that these top recruits, these McDonald's All-Americans, all of a sudden have affinity for thoroughbred races because that's what. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you go play at the University of Kentucky? But yeah, that's
here in Louisville as a Louisville resident. TB as someone who lived in Louisville, you might know this too. When Purvis Ellison arrived at the University of Louisville, he was riding around in a brand new, and I kid you not, a Monte Carlo Super Sport back in the day. And back in the day, driving a Monte Carlo Super Sport was a big fucking deal.
It's still a big deal.
Look, I've seen. Look, when I was in school, I saw a lot of the players driving nice cars. But my thing is, 20,000 people ain't paying to see me do anything, so I don't care. Exactly. But I just think we need to disassociate ourselves with this notion that these kids are playing for the love of the game, because it's never been that way. Ain't nobody doing this for free. So that's my 2 cents. So yeah, you'll get the NBA guys to chip in some money. Yeah. Can't hurt.
And for Drew, Randow, you kids, Dan Issel was a very big time player for Kentucky back in the day.
I know who he is.
All right, granted, when he was playing, it was
pissing me off. Though.
Games were in black and white, and they weren't on. But so again, let me TB, or not TB, Davo, Dan Issel's comments. How did that resonate with you?
I mean, I don't know. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's the soundbite I wanted.
I think at the end of the day, there may have been some prolonged strings pulled somewhere along. Get out of my chips, damn it! There may have been some kind of prolonged strings being pulled, so on and so forth. But I mean, we don't know. We don't know. And now we're just cheating legally at this point. You know what I mean? Now
it's not cheating anymore. But here's my as a defender of Kentucky sports, whenever my Louisville friends or anybody not associated with Kentucky would throw you guys cheat, your guys are playing your players. I was thinking from a logical standpoint, if you pay a player, you play player A, pay player A, but you don't play player B. Does player B keep that a secret? That's, to me, the cheating thing. If they're playing players,
are you talking about at the same time?
Yeah. So
I don't think player B would have known. I think it was all under the table.
Yeah, but you don't think
you're not
seriously. You don't think player B would. Player B shows up in his Ford Focus, and player A shows up in his Escalade. Do you not whoa, wait a minute. Come on.
I mean, I'm sure you do, but at the same time, don't know.
Not that there's anything wrong with the Ford Focus out there. People just say.
No, let's be real. These things were going on for years and years. I mean, I know kids that
they were.
I know kids that I was in high school with that were high Division I athletes that played college basketball, college football, even before pre-NIL stuff. Some of the things that they were getting from some schools was absolutely crazy. And now it's normal, but that was even just, I mean, I graduated high school in 2021. These kids were juniors and sophomores getting these, hey, here's a Walmart bag, in the other room, go grab it and keep it closed while you walk.
The secret handshakes after the end of the game. You know, you walk into your locker room and your locker is filled with all kinds of gifts. I get all that.
We have to remember too, like, we're all deep Kentucky fans. We would walk from Miami, Florida to Lexington, Kentucky, if that means we got to be on the team. Not every player is going to feel the same way. Like, not every player signs up to just play. Oh, I want to go to University of Kentucky. No, I mean, it sucks for the other programs that they were broke compared to what we could do. But it also, it doesn't mean that Kentucky is just the only ones that were cheating. I mean,
no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
at all. The fact that if we're doing it, according to Issel, then every freaking blue blood out there was doing it, has been doing it, still doing it. Well, I don't even know if they need to do it now.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Wooden had a money guy. Like, Wooden had a money guy out in UCLA, and everybody knew it. So that, look, again, as fans, just like Drew said, I would walk from Iowa
what
to
do you
Kentucky.
think Worldwide West was to Coach Cal in his early years here and at Memphis? Like, he was that middleman in between the money guys and the recruits and all the shoe deals and AAU program.
Worldwide West was the guy, right, TB?
Yeah.
Was he the guy? Yeah. Okay.
And we're the only blue blood to pay the piper because we got sloppy. That's when the sanctions come down, is when you get sloppy with it.
Exactly.
That's the point. If you're not sloppy, we make a big deal out of SMU. You know why they got the death penalty? Because they were cutting fucking checks. Like, they had a payroll department.
they had a.
And they were talking about Kentucky. They were talking about Kentucky doing illegal stuff, paying players when they were, highlighting the McDonald's All-American game on national TV, highlighting these high school kids, all this whatnot. They're talking about the storyline is Kentucky paying this kid to come there. So it's like you ain't getting away with it once it hits that level.
No.
Yeah. That documentary on the Pony Express, if you haven't watched it,
it's amazing. I love it.
Insane. Got caught once, cutting checks, got caught the second time. They're like,
the governor was involved, right, Terry?
Yeah, because we've got a payroll to meet. What? Come on.
I love, that to me, here's the reality. Sports is a break from reality. But when it becomes part of the narrative, I mean, I guess we're just going along with it.
Yeah.
Dave, I haven't heard from you. Dan Issel's comments. What's your 2 cents?
I told you. Yeah, you ain't cheating.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to
wrap it up.
You sure you're already 60?
I know.
You might already be 60.
I'm getting
you
ready.
Forgot already.
Yeah, I think I need to talk to my doctor and do a telehealth to check my mind. All right. So this is I gotta bring this one up. This one, TB, is near and dear to me with you because you've addressed this. Yes, we've addressed this on past shows, but Keith Bogans he was on, I don't know, something recently. He's on campus. Yeah, he came back to Kentucky. He came back to visit. And as fans, diehard fans, Keith Bogans is the shit when it comes to Kentucky basketball. There is a long list of players that should have their jerseys hanging from Kentucky banners. First, TB, I'm gonna go to you. Why is this not the case? And 2, share with me, besides Bogans, because I think we agree, who has to be up there?
Well, I don't know. And I've seen Oscar Combs tweet about what the exact process is. I know you have to be in the UK Athletics Hall of Fame, but then how that gets started. My point is, the last person that got honored is Tony Delk, and he was recruited when Bill Clinton was still president. So from 1996 forward, 30 years of Kentucky basketball, 2 championships, Final Fours, not one player has been honored.
What is the precedent? What's the rule on getting
other than being in the UK Athletics Hall of Fame? I don't rightly know. Like I bring up North Carolina because North Carolina is like, if you do X, you're honored by Y, which I think takes all the emotion out of it. But for me, for Kentucky to have 30 years of basketball, not one player honored, it's a travesty. And I've posted about this before, and people kind of lean toward team success. But with my list, you have to have Tayshaun Prince. You have to have Keith Bogans. Absolutely. And then you have to have the 3 national players of the year. I got bored one day.
Remind us, who are those 3 national players for?
Yeah, you have to have John Wall, you have to have Anthony Davis, and you have to have Oscar Tshiebwe. And so I Googled one day and I just said, hey, I just started going through the year outside of BYU and Jimmer Fredette, because they've got a 14 or 15 year waiting period. I know, I was bored. We're the only school that has not honored any of the national players of the year. Kevin Durant is in the rafters. Blake Griffin, Luka Garza here in Iowa. Like, we're the only ones that you can walk in and not know we've had any national players of the year.
Is it because the people who are in charge of that is part of that whole old school mentality where one and dones shouldn't exist, or that? Go ahead.
Right. So I've had people say, John Wall doesn't need to go up there and Anthony Davis doesn't need to go up there. They don't play
Bullshit.
But my point is, it's feasible that we're going to be 10 years away, not honor anybody. Anthony Davis and John Wall might be in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Before.
Like, you see how John Wall has already been pulled back into Washington.
The Wizards.
Draft lottery. It's feasible that these guys go into the National Hall of, or the Basketball Hall of Fame,
NBA,
the NCAA Hall of Fame, and they won't be honored here. That to me is insane. So those are my 5. I can make an argument for Ulyss going up. Willie Cauley-Stein, I don't know, but you at least have to have players of the year. You at least have to have All-Americans, and SEC players of the year should be honored. That would be where I start.
Randow, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a big take about it. If it were me personally, the only one on that list that I would put up on the Raptor, if you say we've gone so long, would be AD. I don't care that he's one and done national player. Maybe the standard's a little bit higher at Kentucky to get hung in the rafters. But if you did the whole celebration and wanted to celebrate Wall, Oscar, I could make an easy argument for him and what he did come back 2 years and at Kentucky. But again, you're talking about winning games, and winning matters. These guys won a lot of games. They unfortunately fell short in the most important games, especially Oscar. And I'm not dunking on him. That's one of my favorite players of all time. But just because what he meant in the Cal era and the things that he did, he made rebounds cool, right? We went from 3 goggles to the big R's in Rupp. Oscar was awesome. But again, he won 1 tournament game in 2 years. National Player of the Year won 1 tournament game in 2 years. So I could argue against why he would do it. AD should already be in the rafters for sure. And then, some of those other guys I watched highlights of, like Keith Bogans I was a kid when he was playing. So I can't talk smartly about why he should be. I've seen highlights. He was a great player. Those tubby guys, I think, get forgotten about, unfortunately, even though they were great. They should definitely get their respect. When you talk about putting a raft or a jersey in the rafters, I'm okay with the bar being really, really high, but I also agree with TB of it's been too long. We've had too many great players to not have recognized somebody.
Yeah.
But look who's up there.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, we want to
who is up there? Remind us who's up there, TB.
There's a lot of it. People push back, Oscar didn't win. I'm like, Dan Issel didn't go to a Final Four. Mashburn didn't win a national championship, and they were heavily favored in '93. So now are we penalizing the individual players because the teams didn't go where we wanted?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. The unforgettables are up there. Have you ever looked at their numbers? But we as a fan base decided we're going to honor those guys because they mean something to us. Irrespective of the numbers, irrespective of where they finished, these guys meant something to us. And so 30 years without that, yeah.
And this is a reminder.
Does Tayshaun Prince and Bogans get punished because of the 96, 98 teams and how good we were in the 90s, and then there was a little bit of a fall off after 98 in the later early 2000s? You think they get punished because we went from greatness to somewhat average, and they do get punished for that team play, TB?
I've got a theory on why those Tubby guys get punished, but y'all ain't going to want to hear it.
Dude, give me a soundbite, TB.
No, I'm not gonna say it, but I think because when we talk, when for whatever reason when we look back on Tubby, we think that he was just this unmitigated disaster, and that wasn't the case.
Let's remind BBN, Tubby was, correct me if I'm wrong, he was Pitino's handpicked successor. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think he was ready for the job. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm with you. He was definitely ready for the job. His resume. But to have Coach Pitino say to the AD, this is who you need to hire, that carries some fucking weight because it's Pitino. And not underselling Tubby. Tubby, I mean, his numbers.
Yeah.
Let's
wrap it up.
All right.
Tubby won a national championship, and you don't give him the credit because he followed a legend, right? And then there was a fall off. That's the biggest thing with Tubby is who he followed. It's the same thing we're seeing with Pope. Pope can be successful. He's following Cal, coming off that next Hall of Famer, right? That's tough. And I think he unfairly gets out. That's why I just said, like, the players that fell under Tubby were phenomenal. Like, it was just in the Tayshaun Prince, Keith Bogans were phenomenal guys who carried the program, continued the legacy of Kentucky basketball greatness, didn't get to the pinnacle, but still carried it. But they unfortunately are slept on for their greatness just because of where they fell in line in the lineage of Kentucky basketball.
All right, guys. Good stuff. We're wrapping this up. Time for final shots. Thanks.
Well, Drew's got to talk.
Oh, do you got it, Drew?
I'll just go quick. Yeah,
no,
I mean,
go ahead.
I'll just go quick with it. Like, I think North Carolina's system's a little bit too much. Like, they have like 100 jerseys hanging up in their rafters. Like, I don't think Kentucky needs to do all that. I mean, then at that point you're just honoring a ton of guys. But I mean,
no. I don't think we're saying to, every guy that we like have those jerseys up there.
No, I'm just saying.
I think they do something for all conference. Like, you get acknowledged like that. That should not be the standard.
They need to change the criteria or the requirements to get in there. Like UNC's, I don't even think any of theirs are like handpicked. I think it's all like what TB's saying, like all Americans, all conference players are all like I don't even know if Kentucky has all those. TB mentioned it, but I think a lot of it is just like handpicked of like, oh, okay, yeah, we're just going to put you in there. We're going to put that in there. They need to do something because let's be real, like that stuff matters and it's cool and it matters to the players. It matters to the coaches who coach those players. So just to include more former players, and it brings you something that you can sell to the fan base of like an exciting game, like what we saw this past year with the Denham game of, oh, okay, this is John Wall's retirement ceremony night or those kinds of things. So, I mean, I don't really have like a strong take on it. It's more of just like, yeah, I would like to see some of the important players throughout the history of Kentucky, especially the last 10, 15, 20 years or so to be, now I'm not saying put everybody up there, but the ones that really stand out and actually matter to Kentucky basketball history, whether it's in any way, shape, or form, whether it's stats or awards or accomplishments, or even a guy like John Wall and like what he means to Kentucky, just to the fact that like he brought Kentucky back. Like he was he was responsible for helping bring Kentucky back to being the cool school and all of those things. Like, so yeah, I mean, that's really all I got on that specific topic.
Here's my final take on this real quick is that for you younger ones, and I'm being serious, Drew, you're young. Randow, you're a kiddo too.
I'm young. You could say it.
You're
I'm
young.
Thank
You're a handsome young man. And you know what my family my point is that do you all really know, Drew? I'm gonna ask you. We're shouting out Bogans and players back in the day. Do you really know what their impact was on the program?
I mean, I would say probably like 85% of them or so. Like I'm a basketball lover, and obviously I'm a huge Kentucky fan. So I've always educated myself on the past history, but I could tell you more about Kentucky's 13th guy in 2017 than I could have Kentucky's best player in 1971, if you get what I'm saying.
And that's where I'm going. And I appreciate that. And during this off season between now and when football season, we're going to do shows where we're going to really, I want to highlight some people who really meant something to the program. Basketball, football. So we'll do this. All right, let's do this. Round of it's the final shot, right? Final shots. Let's shut this down. We're 2 hours, and Davo is looking. I can feel Davo's vibe. Like, shut the fuck. Davo, you good? You good? All right. I know. Drew, give me your final shot.
Yeah, I was gonna use this I was actually gonna use it on Randow's show on Wednesday because I drove home back to St. Louis from Lexington, but nothing pisses me off more than when I'm driving on the highway and there's a semi-truck and a semi-truck, and one semi-truck gets over and they drive the same damn miles an hour for like 5 miles. And
that's
just like,
calculated. That's calculated.
Oh my, there's nothing that pisses me off more. So that
they're on their CB.
It's crazy. Yeah. We're gonna piss this guy off.
Yeah, this guy in the behind us is gonna ride both of our semis for the next 20 miles.
Yeah,
and like it.
Yeah, nothing pisses me off than that. Other than that, that's really all I got.
So your final shot was about being pissed off driving.
Yeah, and I'm not even really a road rager guy. Like, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Or
do you carry a gun in your car?
I do not. No.
All right, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
I don't need that.
All right.
Yeah, I don't need none of that.
All right, fair. Randow, give me your final shot, bro.
Oh man. Yeah. Let's see. Do we want to stay funny or do we want to go serious? Do we want to talk Kentucky basketball?
It's your final shot. Whatever you want, brother.
All right. I'm gonna my final shot will be a little peek behind the curtain to and everybody can realize that I'm a sunshine pumper. I'm okay with it. I also agree that Pope has to win this year, and if he doesn't, he's probably on the hot seat. And we have a new AD coming in who didn't hire him, and this might be his last opportunity to prove that he's the guy. But when it comes to this offseason, I'm going to make my final shot the whiff comment that was mentioned before. Okay, so there have been whiffs in this recruiting thing when it comes to managing players, i.e. Donnie Freeman. You had a commitment, verbal, it didn't happen. His agent goes out, or he didn't, actually commit, but you thought you had him. The agent go out to try to find more money. It does, and then we lose him. Okay, a little peek behind the curtain that I got from someone who joined us on our show, or All UK Ball, Border Rivals on Heavy Pour Sports was.
We're going to plug your show on my show. How about that?
You said don't or do? Because it's too late if you said don't.
Well, yeah, we're going to do. And you're stealing Drew from me and all that good stuff. But go ahead.
No, we're just he's a talent, so we got to get him out there as much as we can. But anyways, we have Keegan Brown, and people thought he was a GM. He's not. He's in this board of 4 who are playing GMers, right? But Keegan Brown is doing the thing that we thought he was going to do when he got here. He was going to be kind of controlling Pope, right? Last year, we got all these nice flashy pieces that everybody said we overpaid for. And when one of them went down, right, there wasn't someone else to step in to help this roster go. So, yes, Donnie Freeman would have been a great get, but at 4-point-something million compared to the 3-something that we got, Keegan Brown's like, you're not doing it. We're not paying for it, right? All these players that we have missed for, again, Pope flies out to Tel Aviv to go talk to this center. LSU is going to give him more money and promising a starting role. Pope and Keegan Brown are not going to do the thing, right? So, yes, there have been whiffs and there's been things that we have mismanaged. When I say we, Kentucky and the coaching staff, when it comes to players. But I think it's a calculated decision to not chase and overpay. We might not like it because we want the big flashy thing, but I personally, as the onion has been peeled back for me to kind of open my eyes of why some decisions were made. I appreciate it. And I think that's going to benefit us long term, especially as we have this big pot of money as NBA draft prospects drop out of the draft and the combine to come back to college. So I think it's all going to be very, very good. It's going to work out for us. Also, what I learned from parents of players on the team, I think this is so important, and I know fans may not care, but if you are a parent, you will appreciate this. Pope has missed out on people or on players because he has been very honest and open with them about what money, role, minutes, all those things are, right? A big reason why we got Braden Hawthorne is because he was very, very true to the parents of he's going to redshirt. This is my plan for him. Same thing with Cam Williams. He wasn't promised anything. This is what we're going to get. This is what my plan is for you. This is what you have to do if you want to get minutes, right? And both those parents who have been through the recruiting cycle said, not every school's like that. You get lied to. You show up, and guess what? That redshirt conversation that didn't happen, now it's happened when it's too late. So Pope is very, very honest with them, with these players, and he's losing folks because he is that's just who he is. He's unapologetically himself. He's not going to lie to somebody to get him in the building and then do it. And then, they get surprised at what their role is later. So I think as a parent, which I am, I can appreciate that. Will it hurt us in the long run? Maybe, because we're not going to land some guys, but I hopefully that just opens the door of Keegan Brown is not letting Pope overspend, which happened last year. And we're losing some folks based off of, this is what you're going to do here, dude. This is your role. And if you want to extend that role, you better come here and actually play and beat somebody else out, because I'm not promising you anything. Thank you. My rant's over.
I have to remember, I have sound bites on here that StreamYard alerts. All right. Who's next? Who's next for a final shot?
TB or Davo?
Or let's go TB. Go ahead.
I would like to give a shout out to the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference. That's a Division III conference. Give a shout out to all-conference performer Sarah Brown. She was second-team all-conference last year as a freshman, first-team all-conference as a sophomore, and they won their tournament, their postseason tournament for their conference. So I am a parent, and so I understand about the recruiting and things of that nature. So I'm going to give a shout-out to my girl who is doing it and all over. 13th in the country in turnovers caused. I'm going to back this up. NCAA Division III women's lacrosse. I know most people don't give a shit about, but I can go to the NCAA.com website and I can look at these stats, and it's my daughter's name. And she's 13th in the country.
That's so awesome.
So, yeah, I've been walking around with my chest poked out. 13th in the country.
And she hit the transfer
now,
portal.
granted, PB Brown is a
working
pretty...
on NIL. So there you go. I'm working on that, baby.
Yeah,
we'll take offers.
When TB doesn't show up on a Sunday night, I will realize that NIL deal just was so great that he just blew us off from this point.
But no, she's doing great. So I had to get her a shout out.
Good stuff. Sarah Brown. That's what we're all here about is family. Yeah, at the end of the day. Davo, final shot, brother.
We've had a lot, like I said, a lot of all the Louisville fans in the chat tonight. I know I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Just keep that, that's all day, every day, 24/7, 366 days a year. Just keep that same energy, bro. Just hope to God that little man puts it together down there, down 64. Because if he doesn't, man, I swear to God, we're coming with heat, some serious heat. So just keep that same energy. We'll see what happens.
To quote
Michelle Morton, and real quick, hold on, real quick,
Yeah.
in real time, Michelle Morton, I'm gonna thank you always, Michelle. We love you. You're
Absolutely.
such a supporter of every freaking BBN sports podcast.
60
I'm a
hours a
little
week.
jealous. I'm a little jealous that you give so much other time to all the others. But real quick, put in your chat, family wise, you had a good thing happen with the son, right? All right, Michelle. She's personal stuff. I little quick shout out. Michelle Morton is someone who, Terry, you know this.
Yeah.
Your show, all kinds of BBN shows, our show, and she's got some personal stuff going on. Michelle, we love you. Appreciate your support, all that good stuff. So yeah. More final shot. I think we're done. We are 2
What
hours in
heat
this.
do Kentucky have this year? Away gone.
What heat? We try to. Okay. Oh,
Look, man, I'm 50 years old and I've never seen Louisville dominate Kentucky. So what are we doing here?
All right.
They've never won 3 years in a row. What are we doing here?
Is he still? Is this still a Louisville?
I think it's
thing?
somebody else, but
right.
whatever, man. Like, I need to calm down and go to bed.
Do we need to do a Sunday night Louisville podcast where we totally dedicate our show to
Talking
our
shit.
take of talking shit? I know.
I was a Louisville fan growing up.
I've got an idea. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I was a misguided youth.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Randow, thank you for hanging with us from the Show Me State.
2 of us in Missouri tonight.
Yeah, buddy.
Drew, you're in Missouri tonight?
Yeah, St. Louis.
Okay. Good
M-I, crooked letter, O-U-R-I. No one can do it better. A little Nelly for you guys.
Though I did hear Lane Kiffin put out some tweet or something that it was hard to recruit in Mississippi because recruits didn't like the
Yeah, that was crazy today.
That's this. This is why we do our shows, because there's so many talking points that we can just hang out.
Well, also good news. The Missouri running back, he got shot at a concert last night. Ahmad Hardy, one of the best.
It was good that he got shot at.
Well, no, but good that he's progressing and doing better, and hopefully he's able to play some football this year. But a situation like that, I mean, I guess the best thing could have happened is that he's still alive and progressing well. But tough situation. Just you mentioned the SEC stuff, so I just want to give him a shout out about that. Hopefully he's able to play some football this year. And I mean, my family's all Mizzou fans, so especially my brother, he woke up this morning and was just like, holy shit, like no way that happened. I mean, some crazy stuff, but hopefully he's doing well. It's crazy news, especially when it's reportedly 3 of his former high school football teammates that were involved in it. That's crazy. So hopefully Ahmad Hardy does well and we get to see him on the football field this year. And
all seriousness, we don't wish harm on anybody ever. In this day and age of life, let's kind of work together. And my final shot as a paranormal enthusiast, last week, the Trump administration, Department of Justice, War, whatever it's called, released all these UFO files. For the record, because I'm in the know, all that shit they released has been out there for so many years. So for the record, whether I'm not dunking on the administration, but if you're into the paranormal, into the UFO thing, disclosure is happening. But what they released last week was bullshit because it was nothing new. So I'm going to.
Aliens are real, bro. Aliens are real.
Aliens are real. Now, whether you believe they're demons or whatever, it's a whole nother. But my other podcast,
I don't think they come to Earth just to pull you up.
They've
in the
been
sky
here.
They've been
here for many years. Yeah.
But I do think
you know what? If any of you all are into the paranormal,
I did not believe them.
If any of you all are into the paranormal, when I start resurrecting my other paranormal podcasts, I have you all on. It's a great topic because it's just there it is. That's what I like. All you ETs out there. Yeah. BBN and ETs, that's a good combination. All right. For Randow, for Drew and his hair and goatee, TB for your new haircut and your goatee, your ever loving goatee. Davo, show us your hair. That's my man. Dave.
Go DJ.
Yeah, we love it. All right, good stuff tonight. We went longer than usual. We will be back next Sunday for a round of shots because there will be a lot of stuff to talk about still. Randow, Drew, TB, Davo, good stuff, guys. People in the chat, appreciate you. Give us a follow, these guys, follow these guys on their social medias, their podcasts. They're good people. Wishing everyone a good night, a good week. We'll be back next Sunday. Go Cats. Peace out. Good night.
Peace.
Peace. Go Cats.
Good night, people. Love you.